Chevrolet Philippines has brought in the second generation Trax, and in this video we get to check out the mid-spec Chevrolet Trax Redline. Let's do this. We all love glow-up stories. You know those classic tales of the small ugly duckling that grows up to be a beautiful swan? Yeah, those kinds of stories really put a smile on our face. Now the second generation Trax can be counted as one of those glow-up tales. Granted, there was nothing wrong with the first gen Trax, it's just adorable. Alright, yeah, that's putting it nicely. In truth, it's small and pudgy, okay, so there you go, I said it. Now this second generation Trax though has grown up majestically, and well, we can also say the same for the price. You see, this mid-spec Trax Redline now retails for 1,866,888 Philippine pesos, which caused a bit of an outcry. But can this beautiful crossover fully justify its asking price? Let's find out. Here at Reagan's Rides, we do car reviews of SUVs, sports cars, trucks, and everything in between. So subscribe and hit the bell. It's easy to dismiss the Trax as too expensive, or there are a ton of other options available out there. But then you will have to consider that Chevrolet has always been a bit of a premium brand here in the Philippines, and not a puchi-puchi brand, if you may. See, if you compare it to, say, let's say a crossover that was sourced from China, then yes, the Trax price tag would look a little bit pricey. But when you put it up against other compact crossovers from Japanese or Korean car makers, then you will see that it's actually well priced. Now remember, the Trax is a global platform that is manufactured in Korea, and it's also available in North America. So yeah, we really can't compare it to the pricing of Chinese crossovers. So when you finally get over the price, you'll see that the Trax Redline actually drives pretty well. Now this surprised me as well, since I didn't really expect much from this tiny engine. See, we have a 1.2-liter turbocharged 3-cylinder gasoline engine here that puts out 137 horsepower and 220 Newton meters of torque. Now all of that power also drives just the front wheels via a 6-speed automatic transmission. However guys, I love how Chevrolet tuned the 6-speed automatic transmission here because, yeah, first up, it's not a CVT, alright? It's not a CVT. It's also not a dual clutch, but it drives as smooth as a CVT, and it also shifts as quickly as a dual clutch. I mean, I've been reviewing cars for quite a while now, and normally when I get a new car to review, during the first 5 minutes of driving that car, I already know what kind of transmission it's equipped with. The thing is, yeah, I didn't guess it with this Trax. I mean, at first I thought it was a dual clutch because it was shifting so fast, but then I was like, no, it doesn't really feel like a dual clutch. Could it be a CVT? I was like that. So yeah, it is that good. The Trax, yeah, made me second guess what its transmission really is. Now we don't get sport mode here, and we don't even have paddle shifters, but there's no need for that. You see, some people might be turned off with that fact, but when you drive the Trax, I mean, you will realize that you really don't need those things. This tiny little engine can give you a really peppy acceleration. It's eager to downshift, guys, see? And it feels like it's always on sport mode. Now the Turbo 3 that we have here also has a bit of a throaty burble to it, giving this engine a little bit more personality. Now the Trax, yeah, it's also tuned quite well when it comes to pulling power, because all of that 220 Newton meters of torque, yeah dude, that is easily accessible from down low which is why it feels so quick when you're accelerating from a standstill. Now granted, on the highway, the tiny Turbo 3 starts to lose its breath when you go over 100 kilometers per hour. Yeah, but you wouldn't want to do that, right? I mean, the speed limit here in the Philippines is 100 kph, and if you go over that, then you're already breaking the law. And if there's a crossover that will attract more attention from traffic enforcers, it would be this second generation Trax. I mean, look at this thing. Even while it's standing still, it looks fast. It looks mean. I mean, there's no questioning it, there's no doubt about it. This second generation Trax looks like it's really related to the Chevrolet Camaro. I mean, we get these LED DRL light slits up top that look like squinty headlights, but they're not really the headlights. And we also have this, this red strip underneath the hood, which goes really well with the blacked out front grille and that blacked out Chevrolet bow tie logo. Now, if you're looking for the headlights, well, you can find it right here on the sides of the front bumper. These are LED headlights, and since they're really far apart from each other, it makes this second generation Trax look a lot wider than before. Plus, well, the fact that this second generation is indeed wider by several inches over the previous generation Trax. When you go to the side, you will see that despite being classified as a crossover, well, the second generation Trax looks a little bit low. In fact, if you look at it, it kind of looks like a lifted wagon rather than that of a crossover. Now, this low and sleek look does wonders to the overall design of this Chevrolet Trax. I mean, it is gorgeous and I'm liking it. Now, when we go over to the amenities here at the side, you'll see that the Trax Redline is equipped with a blacked out, heated power folding side mirrors here with LED turn signals. Plus, we have that red strip there because this is the Redline trim. And we also have a pair of blacked out roof rails up top. Now, the wheels and tires is around 18 inches. We have 18-inch blacked out wheels here, of course, with that red strip being the Redline trim. And behind those wheels, well, we get ventilated disc brakes up front and solid discs at the back. Now, the suspension, though, is a bit on the budget side because we only have MacPhersons up front and a torsion beam at the back. The ground clearance is at around 186 millimeters, which is pretty much average for a compact crossover in the category. Now, the cabin appointments have never been a strong point amongst American car brands, and the same can be said for this Chevrolet Trax. Now, don't get me wrong, we do get a good set of equipment and features here inside. It's just that the materials that they use here are mostly plastic, and hard-touch plastic, in fact. We get hard-touch plastics on the door cards, same on the armrests here. This is a little bit softer but still plastic. We got a lot of plastic on the dashboard, and we also have a bunch of glossy piano black finishes in this cabin. I mean, we have a glossy piano black center tunnel here. We have a bunch of glossy piano black finishes on the middle dashboard in the center console, and that just means that it will attract a lot of dust, fingerprints, and scratches in time. Now, the good thing though is, well, it still looks good. I mean, it looks good. We have some red accents on your AC vents. We've got some aluminum trim there, some red accents on your middle dashboard. It all looks good. Just don't touch it, all right? Just don't touch these hard plastics and you won't really be disappointed. Now, thankfully, the second generation Trax Redline comes with this vegan leather here that has an interesting take when it comes to the color combination and design. You see, we have a combination of perforated white, some blacks, and some dark reds here to give it a really interesting look. We also have a leather wrap steering wheel here that adjusts for tilt And it also telescopes, so that's a plus right there. And if you'll notice, the steering wheel also has audio controls behind it. So that's also a little bit of a quirk that I've seen in some of the car models coming from General Motors. Now, that's not the only quirk. I'll get to some more quirks a little bit later on, which is, yeah, it's kind of fun, a little bit annoying, but I'll get there in a while. Now, you look at the digital gauge cluster here. We do have an 8-inch fully digital gauge cluster, and this, my friends, is the brightest 4K level gauge cluster I've seen in all the cars I've reviewed. I mean, it's just so vivid, it's so colorful, and it's so bright. And we also have an 11-inch touchscreen infotainment system here, which comes with Android Auto only. We don't get Apple CarPlay here yet when I film this, so maybe they will add that in the future. It's kind of interesting that we only have Android Auto here, and I'm not complaining, being an Android user myself. Now, we also have a reverse camera here in this infotainment screen. A bit of a bummer because I was expecting a 360-degree view camera image, especially for the asking price. I mean, even if you're coming from a contender from Japan or Korea, they all give 360-degree view camera image. So I feel that this is a miss for the Chevrolet Trax Redline, being just a reverse camera image. Now, let's move on to the quirks, all right? I spotted a couple of quirks here. First up, the electronic park brake. All right, so we have an electronic park brake here, and it comes with an auto hold button. But here's the deal. You come to a full stop, you're in drive, auto hold engages, that's well and good. The thing is, when you shift out of drive and go into neutral, the auto hold function disengages, which is weird because this is not a dual clutch. I mean, this is a 6-speed automatic transmission, and it would save you more fuel if you get out of drive and shift to neutral. But if you do that, you disengage your auto hold button and you'll have to put your feet on the brake pedal to keep your car from moving. All right, so that's weird. It's a quirk, and it's really annoying, to be perfectly honest. I find it quite annoying. Now, the second quirk here is the transmission itself. You see, we have park, reverse, neutral, drive, and we have L, which at first I thought stood for low. So it's low gear. So there's no paddle shifters. I thought there was no manual mode. There's only a low gear, which is perfectly fine for me. And then I realized that L is actually manual mode. You see, the shifter itself has a plus-minus button on the side, which helps you shift up or down manually, thus being manual mode, as long as you're in L. That's weird, because Chevrolet should have just put M instead of L. I mean, M stands for manual. L, what does L stand for? It stands for low, right? It stands for low. So maybe Chevrolet thinks that manual mode, L is lamnual mode. And it's just weird. It's a quirk. It's weird, definitely. Yeah, so anyway, those are the two quirks, but I really find it the most annoying. Sorry guys, but I find it annoying that the auto hold disengages when you shift out of drive and going to neutral. It's really weird, and it's really something that they can definitely improve on. Now, another thing that they can improve on are the safety bits. See, the Trax Redline here in the Philippines has a good deal of driver assist aids, as you can see on your screen. However, the forward collision alert is a bit nervous, and I'm not the first reviewer to say that. And yeah, it kind of engages quickly, even if the car in front of me is like so far away. Now, that and the fact that we also don't get adaptive cruise control here, which is something that I would expect already, considering the price that this Chevrolet Trax Redline comes in. Yeah, so because we don't have adaptive cruise control, that means that when it comes to the convenience and safety features, the Trax Redline is a little bit behind, even when you put it up against Japanese or Korean contenders. Where it excels though is the fuel economy. See, light city drives returned 11 kilometers per liter. And yeah, when you're in stop and go traffic, which I've experienced yesterday, was really bad, stop and go traffic can still return to you 8 kilometers per liter. Now that surprised me, that really surprised me. However, the biggest star here is the highway fuel economy. See, when you're out on the highway, you can expect to get as much as 21 kilometers per liter. Oh yeah, that's a really fantastic level of fuel economy, considering that this is a compact crossover and and not a small city car. Now, speaking of size though, let's go check out the back and see what sort of space that we get. Alright, so with a wheelbase of 2700 millimeters, the Trax is one of the most spacious compact crossovers in the segment today. I mean, we get a fantastic amount of legroom here. This is really nice and comfortable, and we also have a flat floor right here, which really helps to enhance that feeling of space. Now, the seats are also quite supportive, a little bit firm, but still supportive. Now, when it comes to the ride quality though, well, it's pretty much what you'd expect from a vehicle that comes with a torsion beam. You see, on smooth highways like this, well, the ride is well composed. But when you take it out on an uneven road, like let's say EDSA, yeah, the Trax has a tendency to hop around a little bit when it's going over, let's say, ruts or, you know, some small potholes on the road. Now, when it comes to the amenities though, yeah, the Trax Redline is very well spec'd. See, we have a pair of rear AC vents there, we have a USB Type-C and USB Type-A charge port, and we also have this nice and soft center armrest here with a pair of cup holders. The rear end design continues on with the Trax sleek look. See, we get the full LED taillight units here, plus we also have a blacked out faux bumper overrider over there. Of course, we still get that blacked out Chevrolet bow tie logo, and when you pop open the power liftgate here, oh yes, the mid-spec Redline gets a power liftgate. Well, you can see that you have enough space here at the back to accommodate my luggage right here. See, this is my large Sky Travel luggage, and as you can see, even with the tonneau cover, we can accommodate one large Sky Travel luggage plus a carry-on beside it, plus some smaller items. Now, in case you need more space than that, well, you can always tumble down the back seats, which expands your cargo capacity to over 1,400 liters. And if ever you need the spare tire, well, you can find it underneath the floorboard. Taken all by itself, the Chevrolet Trax Redline is a very well-equipped crossover. It drives well, has all of the right tech and safety features, and offers a large space that you'd expect from an American car maker. Plus, it also looks pretty darn good. But when you place it in a sea of crossover offerings from other car brands, the Chevrolet Trax Redline may face an uphill battle when it comes to its overall value proposition. But if you are the type who values Chevrolet as a brand in itself, then yes, the Trax Redline will deliver the driving experience that you'd expect from a Chevy. Thanks for watching.